Okay, let's start with the prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we started, I think it was last week, where Arjuna asked his question. So Arjuna's question was, okay, we understand who a wise person is now. This wise person, how does he sit? How does he stand? How does he talk? How does he dance? How does he do everything? That's the question, Arjuna. This Arjuna's Lord Krishna's response. We're doing verse 57 onwards today. So, and I think we were even sharing. I was going to share the meanings of all these words. So let's look at. What I'll do is I'll actually share my screen. Might be. Okay. Can you guys see the screen? Everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the verse 57, if you have a look at it, this one's a really massive word. And I usually break it down so you guys can understand it. All right. And let's, if you can repeat after me, these words. Yah sarvatra
Sarvatra
anabhisneha
anabhiseha
tat tat
tat
prapya
prapya
shubha
shubha
ashubham
ashubham
na
na
abhinandati
abhinandati
na
na
dveshi
dveshi
tasya
tasya
prajna
prajna
pratishtita.
pratishthita.
Okay. So the meanings are there. I'll quickly go through it. Yah means who. The word on top, it is like it has a conjunction, and there's a number of words in there. So the words in there are all the way from sarvatra, the first one, then there's anabhisneha, there's tat tat and prapya. So all of those are combined. Sarvatra is in all circumstances, in all conditions. Anabhisneha is free from or unattached. Tat is that. I know it comes off as twice, and I don't want you to worry too much about the grammar, because if you have learned a second language, say French or some other language, or even Kannada, you realize that the grammar in English is very different from the grammar in that second language. So the words in this may not make sense when you literally transliterate it. So we'll have to form sentences out of this. So don't worry too much about the structure of the Sanskrit sentences or Sanskrit words, but just try and understand the meaning of the words. So prapya is attaining or receiving. Shubha and Ashubha. So this is, I think, a word you'd use in most of the South Indian languages. Even in Hindi, you use Shubh, Ashubh. So this is good and evil, or pleasant and unpleasant. Na is neither, and that is Contextual, abhinandati, somebody who is delighted or elated. Okay, na, nor, sorry, where am I? Dveshti. So dveshti is dejected. Tasya, his. Okay, prajna, wisdom, knowledge. Pratishthetita. So this thita that we did previously, steadfast, firm, fixed. That's what that is. So we've done that last week. All right. So what is Lord Krishna trying to tell in this one? He's talking about somebody who's unattached. Unattached. Uh, so one who's, if you see that sentence down there, one who is free from attachment in all situations is neither delighted by good fortune nor dejected by unpleasant. His wisdom is firm. What does that mean? So say for instance, uh, you sit for an exam, okay, and you do better than what you expected to do. You'll be delighted, you'll be elated, you'll be very happy, right? And on the flip side, if you think you've done very well and then you've got really bad marks, you'll be really sad. Okay. So what happens here is somebody who's wise, somebody whose goal is, say for instance, in your case, you're looking to become a lawyer. This is a subject you have to do. You just do it without worrying about the results. You have to pass this so you can move on and go and get a law degree. For someone who's doing that, these results don't really matter. You are not affected. You could do well. Oh, okay, I did well. Oh, okay, I did. I didn't do as well as I expected, but I passed. Right? That is the attitude you'd go with. So this is the essence of this verse. So you're not emotionally dependent on the results of your actions, or uh, whether good or bad happens, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, it does not affect you. So that's the essence of this verse here. Um, actually, just probably want to give you an example, my personal example. When I was in, after I finished grade 10, what happened was I decided to go to a residential school, and my dad was okay with it. So he paid for it, and obviously I went. The first day there were a number of other kids there, and some of them were actually crying, and I was wondering why they were crying. I couldn't figure it out. So when later on I realized they were crying because they were missing their parents, I was wondering, so was something wrong with me because I wasn't crying, I wasn't missing my parents, but these people were. And later on, I realized the reason they were missing their parents was these kids were actually pampered back home. So what happened was they woke up, they got ready, they went to school, they had the breakfast, and they went to school. They came home, they may have done some homework, they played games, and they went to bed. In all of this, the mother's role was to wake the kid up, okay, to make sure the breakfast was ready for the kids, to make sure that the bags, school bags were packed, the lunch was packed, everything was packed, and the kid would go to school, come back, then the mom would empty the bags, um, put the clothes back on the hanger, uh, uh, get dinner ready for them, serve them, and it was a very easy. These kids, some of these kids did not even move their plate. Say they sat on the table and they had their dinner. They did not even move that plate from that table. That's how pampered they were. Okay. And they would probably get whatever they wanted. In your case, if it was video games or whatever. But in those days, they wanted a bat or a ball, they'd get it. They wanted to play something else, they'd get that. So these kids were pampered and they missed that. They somebody waiting on them, hand and foot. So these kids were attached to that environment where they was somebody looking after them. Here they had to do everything on their own. So that is why they were sad. Okay, so I thought I'll just give you a personal experience and hopefully that helped explain this verse. All right, so next verse, if you can repeat after me. Yada
Yada
sanharate
Sanharate
cha ayam
Cha Ayam
kurma
Kurma
angani
Angani
iva
Iva
sarvashah
Sarvashaha
indriya
Indriya
indriyani. My apologies.
Indriyani
Indriya
Indriya
artebhya
Artebhya
tasya
Tasya
prajna
Prajna
pratishtita.
Pratishtita.
Okay, so we did this pratishtita and prajna in the earlier one. So it's wisdom and fixed in or steadfast. So we've done that. So the other words are yada. Yada is when. Samharte is withdraw. Cha ayam and this. Kurma is tortoise. Tortoise or tortoise, I don't know. How do you pronounce it? Uh, Angani, limbs. We use that even in some of the South Indian languages and in the North in India in general. Anga means a limb. Uh, Eva as uh, Sarvasha, fully. Sarva, all, fully. Indriyani is, in this context, it is senses. Indriya, Arthabhya. These go together from the sense objects. Tasya, his, again contextual. Prajna, Pratishtita. So they're talking about somebody who's wise. Uh, I thought I'll just ask, how many of you are aware of Kurmavtara?
I am.
Okay, Pranavi, is it? Who's it? Pranavi?
Yeah, me.
Do the others know about it? Anyone? No? The reason, I think I'll just quickly tell you the story if you don't mind. The reason is I want you to remember the word Kurma. Kurma is a tortoise. It's Kurma Avatara is one of the avatars of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu takes different forms to come and help uh, devas and humans, and one of those is a tortoise. So how does this happen? Is there's a time when the devas and asuras are fighting, and devas and asuras are always fighting. That's a different thing. So the asuras want Indra's kingdom or Swargaloka, and they have this battle. The advantage the asuras have, the villains, is that they have their guru Shukracharya who can uh, revive the dead. Okay, so he's got this mantra from Lord Shiva. He can revive the dead. So which means while the devas, some of them are dying, the asuras are not really losing any soldiers. So now what happens is the devas run towards Lord Vishnu and ask him for help and say, look, this is what's happening. So Lord Vishnu gives them an idea, and he tells them, look, there is amrita. Amrita is like a drink of immortality. You have that, and you will then not be. They can't kill you at all. But to do that, you need to churn an ocean of milk. Uh, how and then there's a question there. How do you churn this milk? So then Lord Vishnu gives the instructions. Okay, you have to go to this place, get this mountain, use that for churning. You need Vasuki, who's the king of serpents, you use that as a rope and then churn the milk on that. They go there, but thing is, the mountain is really huge, and the devas can't bring it on their own. So what they do is Narada actually then suggests, why don't you talk to the asuras, okay, uh, and get their help. And but Indra is obviously reluctant, but then Narada says, look, uh, you need this done, otherwise you're going to lose the battle. So why don't you just trick them, tell them that there is this Amrita, and they're obviously a greedy bunch. They will come immediately with the intention of getting the entire Amrita for themselves, the drink of immortality. Accordingly, Indra went, spoke to the Asuras. There was a peace deal for the time being, a ceasefire situation, and the two armies come. They uproot the mountain, but they can't carry it. So then Lord Vishnu sends Garuda, his vehicle, the eagle. Eagle takes it to the ocean, and then the time comes when they have to uh, rope in Vasuki. In Indra knows. Indra knows that uh, Vasuki spits out poison. So, but he doesn't want to tell the Asuras that. Uh, Narada again gives him an idea and says that play with the ego of the Asuras. So Indra tells the Asuras that they are superior, the Devas are superior, so they're going to go for the head, while the Asuras are inferior, so they should go for the tail. The ego plan works. The Asuras think they are superior to the Devas, so they have to have the head, and they go for the head of the head of Vasuki to start churning. So on one side you have the Asuras pulling one side of the uh, rope kind of thing of snake, and the tail the Devas are pulling, and they're churning. That way the mountain keeps turning when the Asuras and Devas move back and forth. And this is churning the ocean. From the ocean starts coming a lot of things. Whether it's the Airavat, which is Indra's elephant, the Apsaras, even goddess Lakshmi in one of the uh, Puranas, goddess Lakshmi also comes out of it. And all these Asuras and Devas are so mesmerized by goddess Lakshmi, they want to marry her. But she can't marry everyone. So she says, let's do a Swayamvara. And she skips all the Devas and Asuras and goes and puts a garland on Lord Vishnu. So that's how Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi come together. Anyway, not long after this, the churning has uh, kind of created some depth in that ocean, and the mountain just sinks. So then Vishnu comes to their rescue again. He comes in the form of a turtle and supports the mountain. The churning begins again. There's the next thing that comes out is poison that's killing the devas and the asuras alike. It's really a dangerous poison. So then all the devas run to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva comes and he just consumes the poison. In one of the Puranas, it says that uh, Parvati holds the poison from going into his stomach and poisoning him. So that is why his neck turns blue. And that's why Lord Shiva is also called Nilkanta. Nila is blue. Now, this is done, then the nectar comes. And once the nectar is brought, the asuras who are stronger, they kind of snatch the nectar or the amrita, and the devas are now not sure how to handle this. God Vishnu again comes in the form of Mohini, a beautiful female, tricks the asuras and tells them that um, Mohini, Vishnu in the form of Mohini, will distribute the uh, nec- uh, uh, Amrita equally to everyone. And the Devas and Asuras stand in their respective lines, and Mohini starts distributing the Amrita to the Devas first. It so happens that one of the Asuras realizes something is wrong and goes and stands in the queue of the Devas. As soon as Mohini comes to the end of the line, there is the Asura who gets a little bit of the nectar and swallows it. But by then the Amrita is finished, and Lord Vishnu realizes he'd made a mistake and he'd given it to the Asura. Immediately the Asura starts running, and Lord Vishnu takes his chakra and severs the head of the Asura. This is where we get Rahu and Ketu, head of the uh, Asura and the rest of the body of the Asura. So we Rahu Ketu, we also have this in our astrology and astronomical terms. Astrology, and yeah, so that's the story of the Kurma Avatar basically, and then the Asuras are defeated by the Devas. So the reason I told you this story was for you to remember that Kurma Avatara is a Lord Vishnu's Avatara. Kurma means a tortoise. So you don't have to, you don't forget that. Now, why does he bring up the example of a tortoise here? So what he says is a tortoise, when it's scared, when it's terrified, what it does is it pulls all its limbs in, it puts its head in, pulls its tail in, and it looks like a rock. And this kind of protects the tortoise from predators. Excuse me. So Lord Vishnu, in one way, is telling Arjuna that just like the tortoise, right? You and me, we have our senses. We have senses of perception or objects. We desire something. Uh, we love something. So if uh, uh, when we desire this, uh, when we control our senses, then those objects are lost. So uh, maybe I'll explain this through an example. So in my case, I really love sweets. I love sweets, sugar crazy guy, right? But when my kids tell me you're putting on weight, it's an example. Maybe my ego is hurt and I want to lose some weight. So what do? I go on a diet. Okay. And I say no sugar for the next 1 month or whatever that is. And then what you do is you come in front of me and dangle a chocolate. And I'm telling myself, I do love chocolates, right? I can't resist them. But I have made a promise to myself that for the next month, I'm not going to eat chocolates. So when I tell you, no, I'm not having chocolates, you'll take it away from me. So what you have done is you've taken that object away from me. But the desire, the urge to have that chocolate is still with me. Okay. This is how an ordinary person reacts to things. Here, Lord Krishna says, just withdrawing, uh, just like the tortoise withdraws limbs, you're withdrawing your senses, but that's not enough. Somebody who has the knowledge doesn't even have to do this. They don't care whether they get that chocolate or not. So if I'm a wise person, okay, like we've discussed in the past, if I know the knowledge of the self, the Atman, etc., whatever we've discussed in the past, then then I won't have that craving in the first place. So it doesn't matter whether that object is there in front of me or not, it won't affect me. I won't be craving for it. I won't need it. I won't want the taste of it. Okay. So this is something about somebody who's steadfast in that wisdom. Does that make sense? Yeah. Uh, okay. I think we'll quickly finish this verse 59 and we'll stop here. If you can repeat after me. Vishaya
Vishaya
विषयाः
vinivartante
निवर्तन्ते
Vinivartante
niraharasya
निराहारस्य
tehinaha.
देहिनः
Dehinah
Rasavarjam.
Rasavarjam.
Rasa
Rasa.
api
Api.
asya
Asya.
param
Param.
drishtva
Drishtva.
nivartate.
Nivartate.
So Vishaya is object for the senses, objects. So we're talking about likes, dislikes, and anything. Okay. So that's Vishaya. Vinivartante. You're trying to turn away from it. Okay. So that's turn away. Niraharyasya. Nirahara. If I don't know, your parents might know this. There is uh, some protesters in India. They call it, they sometimes do Nirahara Diksha, which means they're not going to eat food. They are because they're protesting. Okay, this was started, I think, by Gandhi at some stage. So this is Nirahara, without having food, fasting. Okay, abstaining, practicing self-restraint. So we're talking about these things. In this context, it's more abstaining. Okay, Dehinaha for the individual. Rasa Varjam except taste. So rasa is taste. Api, however, asya, again, these are contextual. Asya is persons, param, supreme, the ultimate, drishtva, realization, and nivartate, somebody who ceases to be or turns away. Uh, so this is kind of the follow on from the previous verse. When one restrains themselves from objects of taste or desire, the objects go away. However, the taste and desire remains. So this is where I was talking to you about the divine knowledge that uh, uh, make sure you don't. That's why I wanted to finish verse 59 because I've already explained this in the previous verse. So with the chocolate example, somebody's dangling that chocolate in front of me. I might still be craving it, but I'll say no, thank you. Despite that, um, I still have the craving, but a wise person will not have that